out there, and happy Father's Day to everyone, all the fathers past, present, and future, including Mike. Tonight we just started a little bit late here because we had an exciting Game 7. Kudos to the Cleveland Cavs. An exciting game. 1 out of 7. It's got to be exciting, and it was. By the way, Claudio and Tom and Jim and Tim and all you guys have been great. A lot of people tune in, and really appreciate it. Next week's going to be the last show from the United States, and then I'm be in France and Spain and who knows, probably Monaco for a couple of days as well. Big time difference over there, so Sunday nights won't work. Next week we'll do it Sunday night, same time, actually 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Western next week. And the following week, I'll be in the air. But I will let you know through Twitter and Facebook and all the social means as to when the show, spontaneous shows as well, because you just never know. I'm going to be on clay, hard court, maybe, and I'm going to be in Europe. It's going to be exciting and interesting, and I'll do some spontaneous shows. So hopefully you catch them live, and if not, you can always catch the replay for 24 hours on Periscope, or look on my page, therealspinontennis.com, and you can see usually the last show I did I'll always put on there as well. So tonight I want to talk about the real spin on tennis, and I want to talk about the nonlinear game. Now, that's a term that my partner and I, the nonlinear game, and it has to do not only with the way the players play, right, that nice fluid motion, but there's a whole teaching style associated with that. And some of you, and you get it, you've seen the whole thing, and some of you, not so much, even some bright people out. This is an operating system. This whole system we have is patented. The only patented tennis teaching system in the world. And we got a patent the way I use a what do you call it? Trophy pose. He says, I like my trophy pose I use. Anytime you're static, where you say you have a pose, a static pose, then you don't get it. Okay, you don't get it. This is not something where you take a little bit of mine and you take his and you game together. This is a complete system. It's kind of like trying to put a floppy disk, a PC disk into. It's a separate system. So, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the linear way of teaching, a trophy pose, or the guy I saw, he doubled down this week on his tossing video, where he wants you to hold your palm open and come straight from the shoulder. That's fine. The game involves this idea that a small figure 8 creates a large figure 8, and you don't separate this. It's all one concept, and the idea of the 45-degree angle, and these ideas and a few others that we use, they're all encompassing. And so, like I said, some of you out there really got it. You really got it, and I appreciate it. But as far as I'm concerned, now all these tossing tips and all these trophy poses and all these things are going to be obsolete at best. I think people in 40 or 50 years will look back on the early 2000s, from the 1960s to the early 2000s, 2016, hopefully not much longer, and they're going to go, man, these guys, I'm outside in my neighborhood, so if you hear a dog here and there, they're going to look back and say, these guys are Neanderthal. They really didn't have it together. And so that's my opinion, and I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So anyway, but it's up to you. In fact, saying, if you understand that this is a complete system, toss a heart out there so I can see you understand, and I'll know who really gets it. And like I said, nothing wrong and nothing against the linear style teaching, the tossing from the shoulder, and the trophy pose and all these things you guys think. And it may very well work for some people. But it doesn't work that well yet. I mean, you still don't have a lot of decent players, mostly low-level tennis players. So all these tips and drills aren't helping that much. Let me give you an example. I have a girl, Layla. She's a great girl. she was telling me in her last lesson, by the way, she's a ranked player now. I've been with her for about a year, just under a year, her dad was telling me yesterday. And he said, you know, and she's playing great. She plays with kids that are top 50 in the country now. And even though she's not ranked that high, you know, she's probably, you know, top 100 in SoCal, but she's only played a few tournaments now. But she's playing with kids that are top 50 in the nation, right? Because she's got beautiful strokes, and everyone wants to play with someone who's got beautiful strokes. It doesn't matter what they're ranked. If you have nice strokes, people want to play with you. Even the great players want to play with you. And she was telling me that her last coach, you know, we're talking a year and a half ago, before they found me, he told her that she should quit tennis and go back to soccer. And that is a quote. That's exactly what he said. And I hear this a lot, and it's sad, because the coaches, they don't put the onus on themselves, right? Their tips aren't working, and so they get frustrated and they tell the person, well, you're not cut out for this sport. And I think it really hurts the game of tennis, because I think everyone, you know, everyone who's got hips, right, and a left and a right side, you know, that's all you need. And I think it doesn't apply with the linear game. The idea of linear coaching and linear playing, it doesn't work for everyone. And so many people are turned off to the game. It's really sad. And I'm telling you right now, like I said, I really appreciate you guys. I've got a few hundred people in the School of Tennis right now, and I get nothing but just great remarks, and everyone's, you know, students are doing great. People are telling me they're hitting the forehand and the backhand and this and that, best of their lives. And that's the beauty of this system. It works for everyone. Where I really don't believe this idea of linear coaching and linear playing works for that many people. I think it keeps low-level players at a low level. Players are always going to find their way, right? The great athletes are going to find their way despite their coaching, right? I mean, Agassi said he made it despite Bollettieri. If you read Bollettieri's book, he'll say it himself. He was incidental. I think that was the word that Agassi used. He was incidental in Agassi's rise. So, you know, this shouldn't be a game just for great athletes. This should be a game for everyone for their whole lifetime. So the idea of this nonlinear motion, right, and this nonlinear system is really the bright way to play. And all the, you know, isolate your arm on the toss and track the ball, all these one little tips that I read, some of them are okay, they're all right, but they're not holistic, they're not all encompassing. And you know, I think these pros, they throw a lot of crap against the wall hoping something sticks. And they don't care if it doesn't, because they can play, and as long as they keep filling the funnel of their clinics with players, if a few drop out, they expect that. And I'm definitely not that way. I would be crushed, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'd be crushed if any one of my players was frustrated with their game or didn't want to keep playing tennis, or went to a different sport, or like I said, just didn't play tennis anymore. I'd be crushed. But the beauty of our system is it's perfection. It really is. It's a perfect way of moving. In fact, the figure eight, you know, we talk about the figure eight in the hips. Do you know that's the first move you make when you're a baby? How do you think you roll over in your crib? You do a little figure eight in your hips to roll over on your front or your back, right? And crawling, what do you think crawling is? It's your hips moving in the same figure eight that you use to roll over in your crib. It's the same figure eight, and then you catch your balance. Something inherently right about this nonlinear system, this patented nonlinear system. So I do appreciate all the comments, but don't call them tips, because it drives me nuts. It's not, these aren't tips. And you take the whole system and you apply it, and you don't really mix it up with other things, because like I said, it's like putting a software for a Mac into a PC. That's not going to work. That's all there is to it. So that's really all I wanted to say tonight, because we're going to keep going. Today's our 8th show. About the 8th show, we would just talk about this idea of nonlinear tennis and the nonlinear game. And this is where we're going from now on. So if you're coming to me for tips, I can give you a tip here and say how the forehand is so different from the serve or the backhand or the volley, because they're all the same. You follow me? They're all the same. I was watching the basketball game tonight. All the good free throw shooters, I don't know if you notice, but all the good free throw shooters, they skew their feet to the 45-degree angle when they're shooting their free throws, right? Shaq used to shoot straight on like this, right? He'd shoot straight on. But all the great free throw shooters have an angle, this 45-degree angle as they shoot the ball. And that's part of this system, is the idea of the 45-degree angle. So, hope I don't turn anyone off. If I do, that's okay. And like I said, maybe some of your players will make it that way. But I really think the wave of the future is a complete system, an operating system. That's what I call it. It's actually a tennis operating system where the same principles and even movement for the ball. So I don't know if you have any questions. I'll answer them if you do. Broadcast, send me some love, toss out a few hearts. I always like to see that. And I'm sorry I delayed the show to 7. What can I say? I got to watch the game. And I know you guys were all watching it too. So Southern California, and then the following week we'll be in the south of France. And I'm looking forward to talking to you from there. A lot of time. I'll probably do more than one show a week. And, I'll even take you on some trips. We'll go to the market in Antibes. I'll take you. And anyway, I want to thank my wife Sharon again for helping me out here. By the way, I got some new equipment, which I haven't learned how to use yet. So hopefully by next weekend I'll have it wired, and the broadcast will even be better than these broadcasts visually and audibly. So thanks again. Have a great week of tennis, and I'll see you all soon. So long.